Welcome, everyone. This is Heroes Hype Tempo Storm Series 2, Week 2. If you're looking for any better place, you cannot find one to find the up-and-coming stars to either see them or become one yourself. Welcome. Come right on in. My name is Lauren. It is my pleasure to be joined by the Box of Bots, the Kitsune of Heroes, your community coach, the neighborhood-friendly Kalamaka.
Hey, everybody.
Good, sir.
Dude, I'm doing really well. How about you, man?
Oh, I am excited, to say the very least. I've been looking forward to this. Wednesday's fast becoming my favorite day of the week.
Dude, me too. Okay, I was thinking about that while I was at work today. I don't know, I just got so hyped. I was like, okay, I have the entire day of work, and then I get off, and I just get to do, technically this is more work, but I'm just like so hyped on it, you know what I mean? I can't wait to watch these games, especially after the patch.
Absolutely, sure. and I mean, we're not the only ones that are excited. We've had, I believe, a record number of teams signed up for tonight. 33 by my last check at the check-in deadline. And then
That's
we had 14. Though. We had 14 free agents as well. Yeah. So there's no shortage of interest in the amateur scene. Coming off of a very interesting pair of nights in the open division, I'm not too surprised to see teams show up.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect that many teams to show up, but I'm super stoked that they did. It just means increased competition, and it means potentially even more games for us to cast. So that's sweet.
Yeah, puts a smile on my face. Tonight we're trying to up the prize pool for the end of the season. This series will be a 5-week affair with the finals. At the tail end, these teams sign up. You can join in at any time yourself. It's a point-based system, so by the end of the 5-week season, the top 16 teams will be able to play in the playoffs, and you can take a run at the prize pool yourself. You can donate a free $1 by typing an exclamation point match Reno in the chat. You'll be provided with a link, and you can put in the code HHTempo2. You'll be able to add $1 to the prize pool and show your appreciation and thanks to these amateur players.
Free $1, man. HHTempo2. That's all you got to do.
Not too bad. There's other things you can take part in as well. There's plenty of Tempo Storm jerseys, t-shirts, and the like. But we've heard from our good old-fashioned our very own resident community coach is offering up play sessions. If you want to up your game and get a better sense of understanding of Heroes of the Storm, I highly recommend you take advantage of that. You will come away a better player, guaranteed.
Spend an hour with you, and I'll make you the best player that you can be. I promise. I've worked with all types of players in the past, so there's no challenge that I can't meet, including you, my friends. So yeah, those are available on the Matcherino's website as well. So have a look.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him coach on his stream a number of times. Very informative. Goes over replays and things like that. If you are looking to understand why a game went a certain way, how you could have made things better, how you could carry some of the characters you find in Hero League, join up with the young man and take advantage of that. But we are here in week 2. I'm not sure what team we're going to be following first, though. I'm trying to look at that.
We're perhaps Flame is Lame?
I would like to see them.
Yeah,
Flame is Lame definitely put up a strong showing in this week's open division. I'm trying to take a look now.
It's one of those teams that I think has a pretty high skill cap. They just need to learn to gel together and figure out exactly what works best for their team. I'd be really stoked to see how they perform in the first couple weeks to seeing how they perform at the end. So hopefully we get to watch at least one of their games today.
Well, I did see they have a team account on the Twitter. And they posted that they're signed up, obviously, but they've undergone some changes.
Really?
I'm excited to see how that shakes up. They didn't say what. Let me pull up the exact tweet, because I'm curious.
Interested to know. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Said what did they say? Looks like they're warming up in scrims and ready for competition. Did that tweet go away? I could have sworn they said they changed some things around.
Perhaps another tweet from another time.
I don't. Another iteration of reality. Yeah. Either way, it'll be cool to see them show up. I think they're one of the teams that could make some serious waves in the open division.
Yeah.
And
sure.
they tighten things up. would not be surprised at all to see them in the Crucible.
Yeah. I mean, they have like Shot still on that team, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe, yeah. So like, he's played at LANs and stuff like that. So they've got at least members on their team that have competitive LAN experience. So pretty big portion or big part of the scene back in the day. So it just takes that right group of players and that right mindset and those right drafts, and I think they'll actually be able to contest some of the top level amateur teams, and even, like you said, perhaps even make their way into the Crucible.
Absolutely, because I think looks like got a Reese here from our good old fashioned Argy. All right, so hang on for a second. We're taking care of a technical issue. Apparently, don't go anywhere. I guess we'll be right here.
Well, I am
imagine he's doing that now.
Are we?
And he's back, so we're back. Hello. Yeah, but Malthael will be available for play. We had a pretty interesting patch today that will shake things up a little bit. Uther got the armor reduction on his level 7 talent from 75 to 50.
Yes. Sorry.
I know, that's funny. Like Blizzard went a nerf for that win, and it was almost like they were like, we hear you.
Dude, yeah, I actually tweeted that yesterday, and then the patch notes come out today, and they're like, hey, by the way, Ancient King's getting wrecked. Or was that today? Yeah, today. Yeah, super stoked on those patch notes. Also, the Dahaka changes. What do you think? I don't think it's actually going to do a whole lot. Mainly just the brush stalker change from 50 seconds to 60 seconds. Really not the end of the world, but still something kind of decent, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the 10 seconds won't be the big deal that some might initially suspect that it is. Yeah. And the rest of the changes overall just seem to be kind of like pushing the peas around on the plate. It's like moving around a little bit, but it's overall still the same meal.
Yeah.
The Tassadar shield quest change is a little interesting.
Oh, that's true. Yep.
I don't think that's been the preferred build for a while. So
no, and he had a little bit of auto attack damage nerfed, right? And then, what was the other major one? Or not even major, but like random D.Va nerfs. That was kind of weird, eh? Like the damage on D.Va and like her Q damage reduced as well, something like that. That was kind of interesting.
I was surprised to see that for sure. I mean, I think D.Va for a long time will be a question mark as far as where exactly she fits in, just because she has such a unique hero kit.
Yeah.
But I don't know if she was in the place where she necessarily needed nerfs. Like, I've seen some dominant D.Va play, but I wouldn't directly attribute it to being, just because of her auto attack damage.
Yeah, me either.
The changes that they made. So. And we will start with Flame is Lame. We've heard from our good old fashioned Argy.
Stoked, man.
So, fireworks right out of the gate. I need to get into the game because that'd be good. Had to let the patch update on this computer. So while we're getting everything set up here, Colin.
Yep.
I think I might have to hop on my soapbox for a moment. You mind?
You what?
I think I need to. The past couple days we've had the Open Division. I was very excited to see how things would shake out, and there's a team on there named Hold It Down. You may be familiar with them. Features the likes of Crowan, McIntyre, Arthelon, Ishbu.
And BBJ, right?
And BBJ.
Yeah.
So, I was on Heroes Hype Live, the podcast episode the other day. And I was talking about the idea that amateur teams and the NA region in general need to play games more seriously. Like, you go into Heroes Hype. We saw LFN last season. They showed up with some chuckle draft, just like yucking it up and trolling and whatnot. They didn't make it to the finals.
Yeah.
And then last night we see Hold It Down in game 2. They switched their roles around just for the giggles, and then they end up dropping that game. And then they go into the third game and they drop that one as well. And I just feel like there's a bit of hubris in there. my advice to teams of that caliber and across the board would be just play these games seriously, because these are the stepping stones to make it to the professional level, to play on the world stage, to play this game at a high level. If you don't take your opponent seriously, you're only doing yourself a disservice. Don't go around. Yeah, like don't treat it like it's some flashy display. Like show up. If it's gonna be a 7-minute game, make it a 7-minute game. Just close it out.
Yep.
Get it done. Play the game clean. When you start to let your guard down because there's this presumption of victory, there's gonna be a disciplined team comes along and proves you wrong.
It's interesting that you even bring that up, because like my team, for example, we played against Even and Death last weekend, right? In which you would say would probably be our easiest matchup in HGC, but man, we went into it just like we were playing Dignitas. Like we did as much research as possible. We basically respected them as a team because they have the potential to take games off of us, and we just would not let that happen. But you have to like put in the respect and for the the team that you're going up against, or you have to have the respect for the team you're going up against. And yeah, you have to take everything seriously, man. Every move counts. Like it's all so important. So I completely agree with you, 100%.
Yeah, I just think there's something to be said versus said for talent versus discipline. In most things in life, if you practice hard enough and take something seriously and develop your craft at a particular skill, you will eventually do better than someone that just out of the box is great at something.
Yep.
And I think we saw an instance of that last night. And I hope the teams that showed up tonight that felt inspired by the midseason brawl and want to, get into the amateur scene and try to play professionally, they saw that as both a warning and an opportunity. The North American scene is somewhat open. There's a lot of questions to be answered. But at the same time, you just have to treat these games like they matter.
No, like I said, completely agree. And what you said there with like names that maybe haven't had a lot of recognition, but they're putting in the hours and they're putting in the work, or going to start to sift their way to the top of the pile. I hope we see more of that. You know what I mean? Like that happens in so many other games, and I just want to see more of it in HOTS. There's so many really good Hero League players. Like a buddy of mine, Skull Kid, like he's an insane ranged player. He's had difficulties on teams because of like attitude and stuff like that. But as a player, like he focuses on the game, focuses on his craft so much, like even more so than a lot of people that I know. And I really just hope people like that, and there's probably like 100 of other ones in Hero League that really end up seeing that break. But yeah, this game is so focused on team environments that individual skill level isn't. Well, it is important, but yeah, you need that team aspect as well. But I hope they can find their place,
Absolutely. And we've heard from our good old-fashioned Forehead Junction's going to be the band. I'm not entirely surprised to learn that. We'll be jumping into the first game of the evening shortly.
You keep seeing it banned?
I know, and then Sky Temple's the pick, I believe.
Yeah.
We've heard again from our good old, Colin.
What are you saying?
They just don't make them like that.
No, it's true, man. It's really true.
They just don't make. Argie's been holding down the production end of things. He hosts the channel. He does the OBS work, so he's very much the eyes of this whole production. And while we're getting things set up, I would give a special thanks to all the staff behind the scenes for Heroes Hype. Kali, you may be a little biased, but Kalieska has been doing a great job bringing the teams in, helping them get signed up. I've been seeing her activity in the staff chat, so props and welcome to the team. And we've had a lot of additions to the staff, so thanks to all you guys.
Nice job, everybody.
But we'll be getting in here. I'm looking for the lobby because I'm ready to go, man. We got over 30 teams tonight. You see the open division. The lobby is up, so let me jump in this bed.
Lobby's up. Let's go, baby. I'm actually so excited to do this.
All right, I'm in here. I get dropped down. Neat.
Oh, Corgi and Deadly? Oh,
right?
I know so many people in here. This is... I don't know who to cheer for. I love them all. It's like all of my children. Not actually, but dang, I'm stoked. Lots of good names.
It's funny. Dre said, I mean, to be fair, some of these teams come to Heroes Hype just to play troll comps and have fun. And my response to that would be, I don't know if this is the place to do that anymore.
Anymore. Yeah, I agree. Anymore.
There used to be a very set ladder as far as, skill levels, even as recently as earlier this year. Like, UTA, everyone saw them winning Heroes of the Dorm. They would go on to not drop a single game that entire tournament. And it just felt like, there's a pecking order. But things have shaken up a lot since then, and these teams feel super motivated. I think there was a subtext to conversations before where it was like, well, we're only this good. We're not better than that team, so we're not going to try too hard. I think there are a lot of David versus Goliath situations where these up-and-coming teams, they're like, let's throw this stone. Like, let's see what happens. If we go straight at, like, they're just 5 people at the end of the day. 5 other people we're playing against. And I don't think you can really rest on your laurels and make those kinds of assumptions, because if you go out here trying to look flashy, you might get embarrassed.
Okay, I was just about to say the embarrassment factor. Like, if you have a roster of 5 names that are like well known throughout not just the amateur scene, but sometimes even like the upper level competitive scene, and you're getting just like bodied by, I don't mean this disrespectfully or anything like that, but like a random team on Heroes Hype, because sometimes it's just people getting 5 people together and you get beat by something like that. Like, that doesn't look good on you, right? Even though you're high named player sort of thing. So yeah, I think people should take these games pretty seriously, and there's a fairly substantial prize pool at the end too. So it's getting real, Lauren.
I believe so. And Shot of Flame is Lame just whispered me, said also, if you care, the change we made was changing of shot calling. They changed it over to Legend doing the shot call. There's a note of irony of shot calling.
Ooh.
Like, I don't know. I just think that's an interesting play on words. But
Legend shot calling. Okay. The mastermind.
That man is scary at this game, man.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's a bad thing at all to have someone with that kind of insight. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I love the guys on Hold It Down. Protagonists of the scene in a lot of ways in regards.
Nice.
But that there's got to be a part of them that's looking at last night and they're just like, we probably should have just played that one a little more serious.
Yeah, and I hope they do that. I hope they look at those games and they actually realize that they can find something valuable in it, and they study it and they fix their problems, and they just take every loss and they move forward with it, because I believe in that roster. I really do.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just thought it was interesting because I've been thinking about it a lot. I just want to see NA improve, make NA great again. But we have the first game of the night, Sky Temple, over on the left. It's gonna be Flame is Lame,
and they're versus who?
Order of the Sleeping Dragon. Actually, my friend Silent Shoes on that roster.
That's quite a gnarly name.
Yeah.
So, starting off with a Genji ban. All right, nothing too crazy. I'm interested to see if it's just like an instant Uther ban still, or are they just like taking Malthael off the plate? Like, what do you think's gonna happen here?
Well, I think the Malthael making their way into the Nexus on the competitive level is definitely going to shake up the prioritization of the draft. You and I were talking about this with Argy before we started up. I feel like the 75 to 50 is a noted change, but I think his overall value and priority will stay the same. So I don't see him making it past the second ban phase without some kind of ban.
I think that makes sense. I think it does. And it's also like I don't know, it's like a high variance hero right now. Not a lot of people have had a lot of practice against it. Not a lot of people have had a lot of practice with it. So you could just like take it off the board because you're afraid of it for both of those reasons. But they end up going with a new Barak. Also makes sense.
Yeah, an early ban on a new Barak's never a bad thing, especially when you're the second pick.
Yeah.
You do not want to deal with double stuns on a number of heroes on your team, as well as Cocoon locking out a very important part of your success to a team fight. If you're not the first pick, you can do worse than take that off the board, but here we go.
Instant Tassadar. Okay, does that mean they're going to look for a Vala plus an Ariel in their 2-3? Probably. I don't mean the Tassadar is highly indicative of that. Or they might be looking at picking up something like an Illidan later on in the draft on this map. He's pretty darn good. Lots of shrine control, lots of mercenary control. But what's the response? Like, what is it? I like taking the first game to see kind of what these teams are doing, because it's really hard to tell, especially after a new patch, man. Especially after a new patch. So, Malthael, Uther, Dahaka, still highly contested pick.
These would all be very strong selections. I would not be surprised to see Dahaka show up here. The thing about a first pick Tassadar is that you seldom are worried about the Tassadar itself. It's like, okay, who are they trying to turn into a superhero? It can often be Vala. We've seen Ariel, Vala, Tassadar serve as a very strong beginning to many drafts from the highest level down. We're going to see Dahaka Uther, so that lockdown's going to be there.
Yeah, I feel like it's the instant Ariel Vala, unless it's something a little bit more cheeky. So, I mean, Uther Dahaka is super scary, man. But if you decide to go with that auto attack steroid carry and an Ariel, there's not a whole lot of lockdown that team has, therefore not giving as much value to the Guardian of Ancient Kings. But again, we'll just have to see what they're prioritizing right now. Flame is lame. Looking at the 2-3 picks.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Dahaka Uther as the 1-2, you're worried about how you set up engagement. If you're relying on heavy stuns and roots, I still feel like Uther does a lot to dampen that parade. Dahaka lands the right drag, brings someone out of position. That stun's going to be following up from Uther, potentially even a Divine Storm. So you have to make sure that your execution at the initial stage of a team fight's important, and I think that will heavily influence where you go for your 2-3. Yeah, and it's gonna be Trace. Okay, or you can just take Tracer.
Ooh, there's the Brightwing pickup. Okay, I think that's actually a little bit early for Brightwing, because I wouldn't anticipate an Uther Dahaka plus Brightwing. So they're flexing their warrior and they're flexing another damage dealer. Interesting. I think Brightwing after the patch is going to be very highly contested. Like, I think she's actually insane. I thought she was really strong beforehand, and just increased survivability now. What is that? 30 spell armor on her E. With one talent, and then, or no, sorry, just Pixie regular, dust? Right? No, Pixie Dust is the, yeah, Pixie Dust, and then the Shield Dust or whatever gives 50 armor,
right?
I think, yeah. So like, I don't know, it's pretty crazy.
I mean, if you make it to the late game, Brightwing is going to be very strong against the blow up. Like,
ooh, there's the mouth.
Yeah, I thought we'd see something like that. If you already have Dahaka in your composition, you're very likely going double warrior. The last thing you want to enable is percentage-based damage, melting down health bars, so I understand that. With the Brightwing change today, yeah, I think she's going to be rather strong. Supplemented with Tassadar, Tracer stands to go off. My initial concern is when I saw Tracer show up, though, is like, all right, there's a point-and-click stunning Uther on Tracer. Yes. So as fancy as her footwork might be, if she gets near Uther at all, there could be a Divine Storm, a drag to follow up, and you don't, that curtain hasn't been pulled back on the damage they're going to have. It could get rough.
Can be a little bit difficult for sure. The Ariel ban, that's an interesting one for sure. I guess, yeah, Uther Ariel with Avala plus having the split push and split soak with Dahaka would have been actually a pretty, a gnarly push. So that's a decent ban for sure, especially if they played against that in the past and they're kind of worried about it. All right. So Malthael off the board, Genji off the board. Are we expecting like a Greymane with this Uther? Okay, so there's the Varian. Another. I think that's actually just a really good response into the Tassadar plus Tracer, especially Brightwing as well if she decides to go with a shield. And there's the Greymane pickup. Lots of blow up potential with the Varian plus Greymane. Level 10, they have so much blow up potential. It's super scary. So this Tracer's got to watch out.
Quite the understatement, my friend. Yeah. If I'm a Tracer player, a bead of sweat just shows up anime style. Like, guys, my positioning is going to have to be pretty crisp because you got to worry about the charge, taunt, the stun from Uther, potentially Divine Storm, Dahaka's drag, and Greymane will have an absolute feast by then. Brightwing and Tassadar might just stand idly by and watch that Tracer get taken down. I'm wondering if that's going to inspire a change for the 4-5.
Which warrior is it? That's the thing. Like, this is a pretty beefy lineup, man. We got Dahaka, Uther, Varian, and Greymane. That's going to be difficult to kill anyone. Like, Varian can negate a lot of the damage from Tracer with his W. Uther is insane with any CC, so they go with the Tyrael and the Stitches. So no CC that Uther is going to be able to heal through aside from with a Guardian, right?
Yeah. Well, the Stitches hook.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The Poly's a silence, which I've learned recently that would count. So, there is value to be had out of Uther's level 7 talent for sure. I actually really like Uther into Stitches because anytime someone gets hooked, it's like, all right, I can step forward enough to get the Q, at least my Q out there.
Yeah, that's true.
That person's gonna have armor, and there isn't really a ton of follow-up lockdown. Like you can polymorph if Tassadar takes Force Wall. That's gonna inspire a scenic route to try to get out of there, but it's not like it's a Malfurion setup,
That's very true. So this last pick, are they looking at a mage? They got 2 frontline, Greymane Uther. I would say Li Ming, but I'm not sure if that's the pick here. Chen. Wow, that is a tanky draft, Lauren. Holy moly. Order of the Sleeping Dragon going with the Chen pick. Interesting.
Well, look on the other side. Look at Flame is Lame's comp. They don't have burst damage. They only have Stitches' hook and polymorph to interrupt his drinking. And
I mean, if you're hooking Chen while he's already drinking, you're not getting a kill off of it. Not with there's just no chance.
So I feel like the Chen is a very smart selection for Order of the Sleeping Dragon. When you see an early Tracer pick, the enemy team can just say, well, let's just go tanky, and then her auto attack damage, she just becomes more of an annoying fly than a stinging hornet. All she's gonna do, those high health bars, that's just gonna buy more time for Uther to land that initial stun, for Varian to land that initial taunt. I feel like this comp soundly punishes the early Tracer pick.
Okay, I can definitely see that. It's just so hard for me to say. I feel like Flame is Lame. They don't die very easy. Well, that's just, true. Depending on what this Tyrael pickup goes with, but through the damage that Order of the Sleeping Dragon can use, Brightwing can, I guess, negate a lot of it with her new talents, and everybody's just inherently tanky, and Tracer can avoid a lot of damage as long as she plays well. So we will have to see, but I'm actually thinking Flame is Lame might have this one in the draft. Call me crazy.
I'm gonna have to go the other way. I feel like Order of the Sleeping Dragon got the upper hand, but we'll find out. Everybody, guys, get hyped. This is the first game of the night. On the left side, we have Flame is Lame. Shot is playing Stitches. Legend is on Tracer. Trap Queen is playing Tassadar. Deadly Ice is on Tyrael, and Dark Chimera, the support, rounded out on Brightwing.
And on the right in red is Order of the Sleeping Dragon. We got Super Flip on Chen, Corgi Booty, my dude on Dahaka, China playing Navarian, Eudaimonia on Uther, and Silent Shoot playing Greymane.
Let's see. Corgi Booty went up there, helped themselves to the town. Action already though. Shot has no escape, and that's 4 red health bars chasing him down. There's the stun. Chin does flip over. Aptly named those Super Flip. Dark Chimera shows up with banana cocktail. Not enough. And then the polymorph. Shot is showing prowess early on.
All right.
Pandemonium.
All right, we're starting out hot. Nice job. The teleport there was actually perfect. Shot positioned a little bit out there, but that was a huge commitment from Order of the Sleeping Dragon and cost them first blood. So Silent Shoot is pushing this bottom lane here. Brightwing going back down to soak. Laning phase playing out pretty normally here with the top push going on from Flame is Lame. Looking at a tower.
Tassadar helping Deadly Ice and Legend help themselves this top lane. China, Corgi Booty doing what they can to slow down the assault. Super Flip is back to business. Has a good amount of brew chugged up. He's gonna start drinking now. See who he jumps on. Goes for Legend, who's been enjoying themselves, just putting the pressure on the Corgi Booty. A 5v5 setup will definitely favor Order of the Sleeping Dragon, but these smaller skirmishes, I do see Flame is Lame getting the upper hand.
Yeah, and we do see now Corgi Booty on the Dahaka rotating down towards where there isn't a shrine. I would like to see him positioned down to match the global, but we don't see them doing that with the Dahaka just yet.
That's a really good point. I mean, both teams have global presence, but it definitely seems like Flame is Lame are going to get more value out of it. Dahaka's finally going to waddle down to the bottom, but the shot's already being taken off the top. No one's gone to the middle one just yet. They're kind of helping these minions roll in there. China goes in. They find Legends trying to port out of there. Trap Queen has the mana and the shielding to keep their teammate alive. But with that retreat might inspire a collapse towards the mid, and Shot tips his hat and backs out.
So Order of the Sleeping Dragon, they're managing to take most of the shots from mid, while Flame is Lame is taking top, relatively uncontested at this point. This Shrine phase going actually quite over in the favor of Flame is Lame right now. Mind you, Order of the Sleeping Dragon is going to be able to take some additional structures with the rest of these channels, but is Flame is Lame coming down to rotate? It looks like they are. Legend is posturing up, looking to do some damage onto the Chen, but yeah, they move on to this Shrine, and we might even see a team fight here.
Be aggressive, say the members of Flame is Lame. Corgi Booty shows up, snags a Tracer. They are able to recall out of there in time. Silent Shoe pressing the issue, gets the pulse bomb for their trouble. The response from these engagements have been serious from Flame is Lame.
And the teleport comes in from Brightwing as well, and Super Flip is definitely caught out. The polymorph already landed, and Chen was just caught there. No way of escaping, no creep wave to jump to. Shot throws out the hook. Doesn't land on any additional targets, and Lauren, we're seeing already a full level advantage over for Flame is Lame. Dahaka over on Order of the Sleeping Dragon, so it's not the worst case in the world, but that's not something you want to see with a comp like this that's just looking for level 10.
Absolutely. It seems like Flame is Lame are just finding success in these thin margins. This is the second time we saw someone on the blue team merely taken down, and then the response is there, and suddenly the tables turn. That is the mark of a great team, something you see a lot at the HTC level. And I feel like the onus is going to be on Order of the Sleeping Dragon to better focus their attacks. I mean, Tracer was a shred of health away from going down. If there was a quicker turn after that Dahaka drag, I think that would have been a takedown.
Very true. So we see pretty early easy camps taken from both of these teams, and Flame is Lame, they get the heads up call, they rotate a few members down here, and they clear out Order of the Sleeping Dragon's siege camp relatively uncontested, and now Flame is Lame is sieging up here, trying to get a bunch of damage onto the bottom structures. They are taking down some towers here. The hook does land on the Corgi Booty. Does he have the burrow here to survive? He does. Pops the essence, but I don't think it's enough. There goes the bomb, and it's a dead Dahaka.
And Silent Shoe dares to jump in there. If it didn't go too well 2v3, I don't know how shiny it's going to go down on your lonesome. Teleport not even necessary to take down the dog, and the macro decisions seemingly are a step behind on the side of Order of the Sleeping Dragon.
Yeah, this is just the story of this siege camp here. When you have a Tracer and a Tassadar posted up with your siege camp, they're going to get a lot of structures if it's uncontested, and there's just a little bit of miscommunication on the side of Order of the Sleeping Dragon. They send down the Greymane, they send down the Dahaka, but, that's a 2v3, 2v4 situation. You can't do a whole lot with those two heroes without the support, so they end up getting punished for it.
And it's costing them dearly. They are almost... they're 2 levels down in experience. Heroics are going to be on the board soon, and Flame is Lame wastes no time in continuing to apply pressure with the heroics right around the corner. They're going to help themselves to this boss. They are in no rush to start that bottom temple up. Nope. But it does get sniffed out. I don't know if they want to jump in here like this without heroics.
Order of the Sleeping Dragon are posturing up. Legend does actually get a little bit caught out here. Chen is jumping onto the point. He has the cleanse, but is it enough to keep himself alive? Trap Queen taking a massive amount of damage as well. The bomb goes out, kills one target, trades 1 for 1. It is a 2v4 now on the bottom side. Flame is Lame, taking crazy damage, but they have the heroics, Lord.
Order of the Sleeping Dragon play their hearts out, and it comes up for them big time with a ace on Flame is Lame. They walked in there, no heroics, and a dream. Come away with the boss and the lion's share of these temple shots. If you're trying to get back into the game, you do it like this.
That's exactly how you do it. Okay, I thought that was the freest boss of my entire career. I did not expect even Order of the Sleeping Dragon to contest it. I was even going to make that comment, but the synergy for Flame is Lame just wasn't quite there. I think Tracer was just taking a little bit too much damage remaining on the point. And okay, I would have loved to see in moments like that, I would have loved to see Brightwing pick Emerald Wind, right?
Mm-hmm.
The teleport plus Emerald Wind guarantees you that the free boss basically. So
Yeah, if they're going to prioritize the boss that much, they definitely would have benefited from that. But another engagement. Both teams are level 11 now. The tempo is still up for debate, actually. Super Flip potentially isolated. Forces out the Storm Earth and Fire. Triple Pandas jumping in on the back line. Deadly Ice is going to try to back away. Cordy Booty advances forward, looking for a Brightwing who blink heals out of there. There's the taunt. There's a drag. It does get cleansed out. And now it's a retreat from OSD. Forces out the Divine Shield, and they're still going at it, Colin.
And this is a perfectly good situation for Flame is Lame. Like, they want these long fights, they want these chases. The Divine Shield is already gone. The bomb comes out on a Chen, and he is completely obliterated. The Polymorph also goes out into Varian. I believe that's his last Protect, so Silent Shoe also gets hooked in again by Shot. He is a thirsty, thirsty abomination. So, that is 3 kills for nothing, and Flame is Lame shows up in this team fight now.
Shot is showing a marked improvement on Stitches. We saw him play this hero earlier this week, and the hooks weren't always there. But anytime we see him press the Q keys, someone's getting yanked out of position, and it's setting up big plays for his team. Job well done on his part. They've responded soundly to that flub over the boss, and they are back in the driver's seat.
Yep, and they rotate up, they steal away the enemy siege camp, and they just look at structures, and I think that's a very mature call for Flame is Lame. You know, they could have just looked, they could have hidden Fog of War, you know, looked for a pick with Hook, but no, they target that mid fort, and that's the name of the game on Sky Temple Haloran. So, nice call by Flame is Lame to target out those forts and get back to this soak. They now have the 13 advantage, so, you know, we might see them looking for a team fight or forcing on some sort of objective, but we do see them falling back, grab their hard camp, just setting up for the next temple phase.
Absolutely. I think both of these teams have gotten ahead of themselves in a few instances here, especially over that 8v10 boss fight. I know Flame is Lame. Weren't expecting all that to go down. But then we saw a little bit of aggression, perhaps over-aggression on the side over to the Sleeping Dragon. They too eagerly went for that team fight. They didn't get the engage they wanted, and it cost them. So now they find themselves again behind in the overall grand scheme of things. But they do have their level 13 around the corner. They could take another team fight.
The hook actually does land onto Dahaka. I wanted to talk about a talent real quick. We do see the shield dust for Brightwing, the talent we were talking about before this game started. So exciting to see how that plays out. Just watch Greymane's damage get almost entirely nullified when he goes in. So definitely be watching for that with the Pixie Dust of Brightwing.
Shot looking for the fancy hook through the wall, not able to find it this time, but there's a ton of pressure on this top lane. They're going to go through one tower, the next one's going to go down as well. Cordy Booty, there's a step out there. That is the longest polymorph of his life, I'm certain. Adaptation gets value. There goes the pulse bomb, trying to jumping in, gets the shield. Super Flip on the back end with Storm Earth and Fire. Here comes Optimus Prime with the old upgrade from Tassadar, looking to do a bit of work. Low health bars on the red side, and then there's that back-breaking hook. Uther gets taken down.
And unfortunately, like, that's how these team fights are going to go as long as Order of the Sleeping Dragon doesn't get any kills. The taunt comes out as well as the Sanctification. Now Corgi Rudy is positioned a little bit too far forward. Tracer is just walking in, you know, shooting at that dragon as much as she can. The hook also lands onto the Variant, and the Pulse Bomb actually misses there, Haloran. You know, Chen continuing to dive on this backline, but he might have been a little bit too ambitious there, and both these teams just kind of walk away. But as I was saying, okay, so if Flame is Lame gets those long fights without, you know, instant blow-ups, they're going to win it, right? Like, Order of the Sleeping Dragon are looking for that charge, that taunt, that Greymane blow-up. But if they don't find it, man, they're going to have a very difficult time in these team fights.
Yeah, the team fight in a lot of ways are going to be decided in the first few seconds of the overall progression of events. If they're not able to establish themselves offensively, they don't get that engaged, they're definitely going to be fighting an uphill battle. And then that's when you start to see a hero like Tracer, especially played by someone of the caliber of Legend, have a pretty good time.
Yeah, exactly. Now we see both these teams just trading the temples here. Order of the Sleeping Dragon on the middle one, but they're kind of realizing that they need to force a fight before 16, so we do see the rotation coming down.
And it is going to be real. Deadly Ice eats a chip amount of damage at the very least. Silent Shoe, the Divine Shield has to get used to save Silent Shoe's bacon. Without that engage or a defensive option available, I definitely think we'll see Flame is Lame feel a lot more comfortable in this next progression.
Shot actually getting a little bit caught there. The cleanse does come out onto the taunt, and now Flame is Lame is turning this fight. Silent Shoe now positioned way too far up without the Divine Shield available, and that is one kill onto the Worgen there. And now Varian taking a crazy amount of damage. The protects come out, but Legend is just killing everybody.
You let Legend, you leave him to his own devices, it's gonna get rough. We see that right now. Exhibit A, the lower armor is gonna turn Uther into a friendly ghost once again. That's gonna be 3 heroes down the side of Order of the Sleeping Dragon and Super Flip. Trying to drink to save his very life, but I don't know if it's gonna go down for him. He drops. That's another cheat.
Definitely. Siege Camp is pushed up now. All 5 members of Flame is Lame positioned up, taking this keep. Boss is available. They have the 16 to 14 advantage as well. I'm not sure if they will risk it again, considering the circumstances of the last boss call, but at this point, I would say that's something that's reasonable to do.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot more, tricks up their sleeve. They're level 6. They have their level 16 talents, so the response is going to be a lot more sound than it was at 10 to 8. But yeah, I do feel like cooler heads should best prevail here. They decide not to go for the boss, thankfully enough for them. Shots down there getting the bottom temple. See Brightwing up here as well. But with that split, that might inspire an aggressive play from Order of the Sleeping Dragon, and they need to make it.
Yeah, absolutely. At this point, Order of the Sleeping Dragon, even though they're down some structures here, they just need to hit that level 16. We need to see the Dahaka go into this top lane because, all of Flame is Lame is showing on that bottom / middle side of the map earlier. So here comes the Dahaka walking up, looking to get that experience. You can even just sit in this bush on the top side. I would like to see him do that, and we do see him staying out of vision there, making sure he doesn't get pressured on the top side here. Hopefully he stays in that bush, be safe, and yeah, they're just looking at 16. They're gonna have to force that fight 16 to 18, and I think that might be the last fight they get, Lauren.
I'm liking to agree. I feel like, if I'm on the side of Order of the Sleeping Dragon, we won that 8v10. I feel, pretty good about going into an even team fight. Their back is definitely to the wall, though. If they drop another, 3-4 heroes with that bottom keep exposed or taken down already, it's gonna be game.
See, this is pretty cheeky, but they're going to lose a lot for it. So, Flame is Lame, position top, looking to take out this keep, and Order of the Sleeping Dragon have already committed onto this boss. At best, this boss just gets a wall, and they're trading a wall for a keep at this point. What they wanted to do was just position on this and make Flame is Lame think that they were on it so that they could force a team fight there, right? That's where they won the last team fight. But Flame is Lame sees that, and they just position top and take a keep, and then the hook does land onto Chen, and he gets his heroic off just in time.
At the last possible moment, if this goes a team fight in favor of Order of Sleeping Dragon, this could be a huge turnaround. A low health bar, Tyrael actually is going to get taken down. Dahaka is able to avoid Tyrael's last shot. Low on health, Legend jumps in, gets taunted, and gets catapulted off of the battleground. Shot the next target. They're looking for blood. They're trying to slow him down. Corgi Booty steps up, gets slowed by the pulverize. There's the charge. There's the stun. There's 3 heroes down on the side of Flame is Lame, and OSD are making it happen.
I mean, and Order of the Sleeping Dragon also have the boss pushing on the bottom side of the map. So, like I said, it did get these towers, a little bit of health left, and OSD is positioning down. They want to take this keep. They want to trade the keep, but, that's still a 2-for-1 situation in terms of keeps, right? But this might be the best thing that they can do. If they can get picks, they might even be able to do something more here.
I think they're looking for the game right now. And if they do, like you said, if they get another takedown or 2, it's not going to go down to Chin happens.
Oh no.
Chin's going to get taken out. That is not good for business. Low health bars. His bottom keep is not yet claimed, so they're going to try to hang around. They make that happen, but look at the low health bar on Uther. He definitely... he's going to be a juicy target. Deadly Ice on the chase, looking for that. Jumps in, they're not able to get the holy ground on him, but the added movement speed from both heroes. Corgi Booty just kicked the nitrous in, he's gone.
And Tracer's up too. Uther is, oh gosh, that is, he's rest in peace, sweet prince. So, yeah, I was gonna say Tracer is up now too. So if the members of Flame is Lame can stall this retreat from OSD, then they're gonna be able to get some picks off of it. And we do see Tracer showing up to get the kill into Uther, and now they're invading enemy camps here, and they're taking everything off the board. Stitch is sitting on, that's Brightwing sitting on the bottom temple, taking mid keep. That's everything gone for OSD, Haloran. It's very difficult to come back. And level 20s now here for Flame is Lame. So this is it's not looking too hot.
No, I mean, they had 2 distinct opportunities to really get the upper hand. They just weren't able to come through, but this is fast becoming a checkmate situation. Siege Camp walking towards an already damaged core, 2 temples, you can't be everywhere at once. Brightwing's gonna teleport in. There goes Storm Earth and Fire. Shot steps in with the Putrid Bile. China at half health, gets the armor lower. Curdy Booty has to blow in along with, no, Divine Shield's not gonna use that. Dark Chimera as well. Super Flip is gonna be able to get that for pop down to Storm Earth and Fire, but it's all jazz hands. The core is down to 11%. Should be
8%, 6. We got the Katas on there, and that is definitely a good game. The last shot actually on the Stitches comes in, and yeah, GG. Okay, that had some moments. It really did. I thought that OSD was going to be able to come back. Well, maybe not even come back, but they had the opportunities to, like that wiped top side plus that boss. Like they could have done something pretty good with that, but cards weren't quite in their favor, and they were just so far behind in terms of structures to learn. Like that was a difficult game if you're in the shoes of OSD.
Absolutely. I mean, I think there are two big things to take away for both of those teams. On the side of OSD, you go into this, you're playing against, you're going against the Sharp team. They did not play scared at all. I commend them for that. They played scrappy. They went in on that 8v10 team fight, and they came away the victors. I was really surprised to see that. And then they also had that amazing stand in the top lane. I just think the times they've gotten ahead, they just pushed the envelope a little too far. Shin was a little forward, outside the range of Uther, gets taken down. If there was any hope of a surprising upset, it goes away with Chin getting taken down. And I think we saw a couple of instances there where Flame is Lame just tried to do too much. They just tried to, they go for that boss play. They're like, we got our heroics. What are they going to do? LOL. They're going to kill you and take the boss.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It was cool to see, though.
It's kind of difficult because OSD lost so many of their structures so early. So if they weren't able to get those instant blowups with the Varian and Greymane combination, like you pretty much had to back off at that point. And then when you're so far across the map, you can't do that into a Tracer Tyrael. They're just going to chase you forever, right? Like there's no way you get away from that. But I actually think the biggest issue this game was Divine Shields just coming out too early. Because basically, if your Flame is Lame, you only have one way of killing your opponents, right? Like you kill it in a Pulse Bomb. Polymorph plus Pulse Bomb that's basically what you're looking to do. But you would see hooks instantly come out, and there's no real like definitive instant blow up from Flame is Lame. Like Pulse Bomb takes a moment to proc, right? So if we waited a little bit longer on those Divine Shields, I think that OSD would have seen a lot more value in their team fights, because there's times where that Divine Shield came out as the hook was still pulling someone. You know what I mean? Like. Yeah. Just a bit early in those situations, but all around, pretty good game.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% would agree with you there. I think when Divine Shield goes down, it has to win the team fight.
Yes.
If it's not going to be able to do that, then you're not getting the value that you wanted out of it. We saw a lot of times where, Greymane was just pressured a little bit, and then immediately the Divine Shield went down. But the rest of the team wasn't even really there to engage. So I don't know if it was just, nerves, or they just kind of flinched and it was like, oh, wait, we got to save our Greymane. But normally you want one of those Divine Shields to be like, that just won us the team fight. Like, you want Greymane to go in at the beginning, have that Divine Shield, and almost secure a takedown. Or you want someone to have 5% health, and then the Divine Shield comes down, they survive long enough to get one or two takedowns before potentially going down themselves.
Yeah.
Then you win the team fight. But we never saw that.
No, we didn't. Basically, as soon as that Pulse Bomb comes out with Quantum Spike at level 10, you need to be calling for that that Divine Shield, pretty much whoever you are, because you're going to get blown up. So, close. Pretty close.
Hats off to Flame is Lame. They